Hi friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah. This is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing or cross stitch, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Happy spooky season. This is the first podcast of October. There was not a podcast last week. I just couldn't manage it. It has been a rough month. Noah's my 2-year-old, very sick for about 3 weeks. There was an 11-day period where we were at the pediatrician 4 times and urgent care once. So he is doing much, much better, although he was up half the night last night with a stomach ache. Who knows if it was a stomach bug or something he ate? I don't know. But there hasn't been I haven't had the ability to sit down and talk to you, and I have missed this so much. Like last Friday night, I was working really late, and it was like 10:30 p.m., and I was sitting at the table like, I've got to get this finished, what I was working on, so that I can record a podcast, because there's not going to be one for the next morning, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I was literally falling asleep at the table, so I decided sometimes everything can't get done, and you have to let some plates drop, but I am back. Today is Wednesday. You'll see this on Saturday, and I have missed talking to you guys so much. And I have some progress to share. I've got some knitting, I've got some crochet, I've got some incoming. It's going to be just a lovely time, I hope. So grab a delightful beverage of any kind, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, sparkling water. I have a giant vat of regular iced water because I have not been drinking enough water today. This thing is full and I filled it up this morning. I probably drank this much. So I need to get on that. Grab yourself something that tastes good, grab a project, and let's get cozy, shall we? Okay, I have no finished objects. I do have some half objects, but those are knitting, so we're going to save that until the end because I have 2 crochet projects to share with you, and they are both for Nova. Now, I was talking to my patrons and members earlier this week, and I was like, I need to go through my WIP box because I know there's things in there that I want to work on, but I'm just like forgetting that they exist. And the reason for that is because I'm working on a huge project for my daughter, Nova, because she wants a blanket. And I feel like I can't work on anything else because then I feel guilty that I'm not working on the blanket because she keeps asking me about the blanket. So it has gotten a fair amount of work. It is growing. It's about 45 inches long. I think I need to get it to 50 or 55 inches before we're done. It's the project that's gotten the most attention. It's living in this giant, like, reusable shopping bag that my husband and I got in Ireland when we were there in 2018. And it's getting big. It's so many ends. I have not woven in a single end. I briefly considered crocheting over my ends, and then I decided not to because half of this blanket is like Karen Simply Soft. And I just didn't think it was going to work very well because that yarn is so slippery. So I am using a 5mm crochet hook. I am using worsted weight scraps and full balls of acrylic yarn that all came out of my stash except for these 2. These I bought at Michael's because I just needed it to have a little more purple and pink in it because purple and pink are her favorite colors. And I am using the Neat Ripple pattern from Attic 24. That is a free pattern on the blog. If you just Google Neat Ripple Attic 24, it will pop up. It's the first result. And so this is the blanket. This is where I was last time. As you can see, I've put on, that's at least a foot, right? That's a lot. When I have an hour, even an hour and a half to crochet in the evening, which I have not had a ton of time to do, but when I have that time, I can usually do 3 rows in that amount of time. I don't know why this just takes me a long time. Ripple blankets, as I've discussed previously, I continually mess up the count on and I'm wildly off course half the time. And this is the first ripple blanket I have ever made where I have not lost stitches or added stitches or messed up the ripple pattern. I think it's because there's only 4 stitches in between the increase and decrease. And so I can very easily at a glance read my crochet and see how many stitches has been done. So let me stand up so you can see the entire thing. It's got yarn attached in 2 directions. So I started down at the bottom. This is Karen Simply Soft in some kind of pale pink. This is a red heart. This is the same red heart yarn mixed with a different Karen Simply Soft. And then here we have, this is Just Yarn, Premier Just Yarn from the Dollar Tree in a pink. And then this is Red Heart Soft, I believe. That goes all the way up to here, where this is from Loops and Threads, Michael's Loops and Threads. And then this is a scrap of Red Heart that I only got 2 rows out of. This is a scrap of Karen Simply Soft Party, which does in fact sparkle. And then I just started this Karen Simply Soft light purple. This is the end of my purple. Like once I'm out of the Karen Simply Soft and this pink, that is going to be the end of the pink and purple. So that is what it looks like so far. We fold it in half. This is my stitch marker where I was last time. So you can see that I have done 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26 and a half rows because I left off in the middle of the row last night. I was sitting there on the couch. I was trying to watch something with my husband, and we both literally just stared at each other halfway through, and we're like, do you want to just go to bed? Because I'm so tired, I can't do this. And he also wanted to go to bed, and so we went to bed. And it didn't really help because I slept horribly. So it didn't matter. This Karen Simply Soft is color Orchid. And this Loops and Threads Soft Classic Acrylic is the color VN104. Lame. That's a lame name. Oh, Neon Violet. It has it in a different spot. So that is the project that has gotten the most love. I am going to go ahead and move the stitch marker so I don't forget. It's this cute little mouse. I love it so much. I'm going to put it on this row right up here. Oop, it's not going in. I shouldn't be doing this on camera, but I'm not going to edit it out because this is real life. So there he is. I moved up the little stitch marker. When I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do, because I definitely have more of this yarn left than this yarn, and when I go to the next yarn color, it's going to go into blue. And I don't mind that it's going into blue, but I'm not sure that the blue is going to fit very well with this pink. Let's see. I mean, maybe, but I feel like I should probably just cut the yarn. When I run out of this, cut this yarn and call it a day and just save that for a scrap and transition into the blues. Because I don't want it to look weird, you know? Dropped my crochet hook, of course, always. So that is the project that has gotten the most attention from me. And I think that it will continue to get the most attention because I feel this need to like complete it, but also it takes so long. And I want to complete it because Nova keeps asking for it, and she is a very crochet worthy person. Like everything I've ever made her, she's loved and used and played with. I know that she will take that blanket to school and use it for her nap time blanket. Nap time is in quotations because that girl does not nap, okay? She does not nap. She hasn't napped in literally years. But they have nap time where she has to lay on the cot. And I don't know what she does. Stares at the ceiling. Thinks in her imagination. She definitely doesn't sleep. So I want to get that finished so that she can take it. I would love to get that finished by the end of October. Is that possible? I don't know. I set goals and life literally just like laughs at me. Laughs at me. I had so many plans. Noah's sickness even ruined like my whip school make-along videos. I didn't record a video for an entire week. I was like a week late just because he was so sick. And yeah, I've got to go pull prizes and do like a ending video for that, and I still haven't managed to do that. Kids, y'all. They just take over everything. Speaking of kids, the other project I'm working on is also for Nova. She has requested a cat. This is living in this giant neon bag that Lynn from Daybreak Knots and Knits made me. I will link her channel and website below. She does all kinds of bags, like any fabric you could pretty much think of in the world. She has the ability to make a bag from, and it's pretty cool. I love this bag. It's my amigurumi bag. It is stuffed to the gills, and you will see what it is stuffed with momentarily. So the pattern that I am using has fluff in it. I have a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook and a stitch marker that I will need, I'm sure. Let me find the beginning of this pattern. This is just a pattern that I got on Etsy. It's called Tofu the Cat Snuggler, because Nova requested a cat. I'm making this one, but I am making it all in one color, so it's not going to have any different colored features. This pattern is designed to be used with like a plush yarn, like blanket yarn or Premier Parfait yarn, something like that. I am actually holding 4 strands together to make this cat, and it is still attached to all the balls. Oh no, it's not. That's just a really long tail for weaving in. So this is I believe an alpaca yarn that I had 100 grams of this. It's a fingering weight, so I split it into 2 50-gram cakes. So I'm using 2 strands of that, 1 strand of this mystery kind of tannish colored mohair, and 1 strand of this, which is Knit Picks Snuggle Puff. It's so cute, and it's so soft. This is a 70% cotton, 30% nylon. That mystery mohair, I have literally no idea what the yarn content on that is. It never came with a ball band. And then this alpaca yarn is 70% alpaca, 25% merino, and 5% icicle. I don't know if you can tell that it sparkles on screen, but it definitely has a little bit of a sparkle. And so what I have done, I have a bunch of pieces. This pattern is not what I would consider a beginner pattern. You can make any pattern at any point in your life if you have enough resolve, enough willingness to figure things out, and enough willingness to frog if you're messing it up. But this is completely, and every piece is different, and it uses a fair amount of different stitches. So this is the head. Does it look like a cat head? No. But it does have cat cheeks, and I need to do some finishing, so it has instructions in the pattern on how to like make the eyes like sink in a little bit, which I think will help. So I have the head completed. I have 2 ears. That makes it look a little more like a cat, doesn't it? Oh! Like this. Where do the ears need to be so that the eyes don't look insane? I feel like these eyes are crazy. They need to be like this. Hopefully the embroidery on that will help. I have 1 paw, which is missing some embroidery on the bottom for the little toe pads. So I need to make another paw identical to this and 2 back legs. And, ooh! And I have the body done and the tail done. So you make the tail separately and then you crochet it in as you go. I cannot say that I like that. Like I almost would have rather sewn it on, but I'm not going to frog it now because it's just not, like it's really floppy and not very well attached, even though I went through every single stitch. So my plan is after I sew the head to the body, theoretically I'll have enough yarn to go back through the body and really sew this down on both corners because it's just not, I don't think that's going to hold up. If I don't have enough yarn to do that, I will just simply cut some new yarn and go in and sew that in and weave it in because I really think it needs more securing. That is not enough. So this is what it looks like currently. It looks like a little bald. I don't know. I think it needs eyelashes and a mouth, and that will help. It will theoretically be very cute. It's a pattern made for plush yarn. So I made a change because this is not a plush yarn, right? I'm essentially making it out of like a heavy Aran weight, or an Aran weight yarn. That's probably what this equates to, not a bulky. So in the pattern, it called for only 3 rows of straight, these are half double crochets at this point. So only 3 rows of half double crochets before you start the decreases. And based on my gauge and the fact that my stitches are rather short, and this is not a fluffy parfait yarn, I thought that was going to be way too small of a body for this giant head. So I added an additional 3 rows to the body. Hopefully that will make a difference. Dropping everything as per usual. We will see. We shall see. I'm about to run out of the yarn that I just dropped on the floor. The Snuggle Puff yarn. I think I can probably get 1 more paw out of what's left in here, and then thankfully I have another ball of it right here, which is delightful. And then also living in here is some black for embroidery and a bunch of other stuff that I haven't cleaned out from the last time that I made an amigurumi. I would really like to get this finished this week, but it's already Wednesday. So is that going to happen? I feel like the chances are getting slimmer as we speak. But maybe it'll happen. Nova keeps also asking me about the cat. So I need to work on it because she is just desperate to have this cat and to have her blanket. And once this is done, I think that I will do the amigurumi from the cookie box that I showed you last time. I'll put that one in here. And then maybe I'll be able to get back to some of my other projects that have been just waiting and waiting. I did a few nights work on a project just for me because I just did not want to work on the blanket. Not because I don't want to give her a blanket. I just needed something other than that ripple stitch. And so I pulled out something that hasn't seen the light of day in a while. I honestly don't know if the stitch marker is in the right place or not. I know I worked at about an inch on this. It is living in this giant Tanny Casey bag that my friend Amanda gave me. And that bag is really special to me because it used to hold my pump parts when I had Noah, and I would have to be away from him or pump. And then once he quit nursing, that tiny jerk, he quit nursing at 9 months, just overnight. And I had to pump for a little while because of his food allergies. And I swore I would never do that. And I would never get trapped pumping, but I did get trapped pumping for a while until we could find something that he would take and his tummy could tolerate. And that was my bag that I carried my pump around in. And so it's like a really special memory to have that, even though at the very end, I wanted to burn my pump. It is no more. There will never be any more pumping ever in this house ever again. So it's okay. It's a happy memory now. And the project that is living in here is, every time I pull it out, it's just so magical. It is the V-neck boxy, which is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. This is made in, I'm using fiber optic yarn. I got this yarn in Rhinebeck. When I went to Rhinebeck in 2022, I believe was the year. And if I can find a tag for you, it's fiber optic yarn cashmere, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. I bought this yarn specifically to make the V-neck boxy. I am alternating skeins, and the way that I'm doing that is by helical knitting in the round because it was pooling. When I started using just one skein, it pulled a little bit, and I cannot abide by that. So prepare yourselves for the beauty. Every time I pull this out, I'm like, dang, it's so great. Oh my gosh, isn't it magical? This is like one of the best colorways I've ever seen. I feel like it's gonna look incredible when it's done. I have 10-ish more inches to knit on the body. This is nowhere close to being done. I had really wanted to have this done for this winter. And granted, winter in Florida doesn't really start until January and lasts for January. But there's probably no chance that I will get 10 inches more of the body knitted on this before January, plus ribbing on the bottom, plus picking up the stitches for the collar, plus picking up the stitches to seal off the arms. Like, I just don't foresee that happening at all. This is where my stitch marker was last time. Like I said, I'm not really sure if that's correct or not, but I do know I knit about an inch on this recently. So it's just gorgeous. Like, I wish I had this on a little bit of a longer needle because it is actually long enough to try on now. It's not quite, maybe if I do it like this, I think it would just reach to below my bust. Maybe. It's got a long way to go, y'all. But every time I work on this, I am just delighted by it, and I spend a ridiculous amount of time just looking at the yarn instead of knitting on it because it's so, I don't know, it's just one of the best yarns I've ever seen in my life. I cannot wait to wear this. I hope that it becomes a project that I have for years and years and years to come. There, I moved the stitch marker. So next time we won't have this conundrum of like, what in the world? So I think I knit on this 2 times total and did probably 3, maybe 4 rounds each time. I want to say 1 inch is about 6 rows. That seems about right. 6 or 7 rows is 1 inch. So yeah, I can't wait to wear this. Can you imagine wearing this with like some really cool winged eyeliner and like purple and like teal? Ugh. Delightful, you guys. I just want to work on it right now. And I can't. I have so much to do. So that's the knitting project that I worked on 2 times. The only other projects I have touched have been socks. And that is because they're the only thing that has been easy enough for me to grab. And I realize this is like a problem that I currently have. I don't have enough projects on the go that can be worked on the go. I have socks. That is it. I can't take that blanket. It's too big. I can't take that to the Children's Museum and like carry it around while following my children around. It's not going to work. I can't take the cat amigurumi. It's way too complicated. I can't take that sweater. It's helical knit. Like I need a space for 2 balls of yarn. I was looking through my whips the other day. I have maybe one other thing that I could carry around, and it's like a little bag that I need to just keep going around in a circle on. But that one requires paying attention to because it has front post and back post stitches. Everything else, I have my artist cardigan, which is only a sleeve and a half away from being done, but that requires concentration and counting. I have my Cirrus shawl, which is lace weight, ethereal delightfulness, but that requires every other stitch is front loop or back loop. So that's not portable. There is, what else is in there? There's just all this stuff and none of it is portable or easy. I think that I need to maybe pull out a skein of yarn for a sockhead hat or something similar and start that kind of a project, because otherwise I'm just going to only keep working on socks. And maybe that's not true. Maybe once I get through this blanket and this cat, I will feel a little liberated and be able to start thinking about other things. But it has felt in the last month like the only thing that I am capable of doing is something really simple that does not require concentration, because I have been so tired from being up countless nights with a sick baby and being fussed at all day by the sick baby. So I just have not had the brain power to even think about new projects, I haven't looked at my yarn in my yarn stash at all. Like it's just been very far beyond my grasp. And so I've been working on socks. But I have made a significant amount of sock progress, as you are about to see. So the first sock that I will show you is my Halloween socks. And I am on track to get these finished before Halloween, which is my goal. I think I'm like on track to get these finished this week, maybe next week, depending on how much park time I have with my babies. This is Hobie Halloween sock wool. It is the color number 3. Who knows if it has a name or not. It's 75/25 wool and nylon, and it is a self-striping yarn. I got this yarn from the Hobie, some sort of Hobie sale last year. They had 100-gram skeins of sock yarn for $7, and I ordered 2 Christmas skeins and 1 Halloween skein. And so I have already made 1 pair of Christmas socks. The other ball of Christmas sock yarn has gold stellina in it, or like a gold, I don't even know if it's stellina. It looks like it's a separate really chunky thing. I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy knitting with it. Honestly, we'll have to see. And then I pulled out this for Halloween. This is where I was on the first sock last time. So I have a half object. I finished 1 whole sock. And here we go. I actually restarted this sock. I don't know if I said this or not before, but I had started, and I think it started in the orange, and then it immediately like switched to black because the yarn had broke and they tied it off, which I don't like knots to begin with, of course, especially in sock yarn, because you're typically knitting straight through. But I especially hate it when in a self-striping yarn, they tie the yarn to a new color. Like they don't keep up with the color sequence. That drives me insane. So that was in the cuff. I ripped out the cuff and restarted it. And this is the sock. So I didn't do any contrast toes, heels, and cuffs. I feel like it's totally fine. It's a Halloween sock. I'm perfectly happy with it. I will say that I did not enjoy knitting this as much as I did the Christmas ball of sock yarn. The other one was totally fine, and I really enjoy wearing the Christmas socks that I made. It's the identical yarn. It's just dyed a different color. But this particular ball has had a little bit of thick and thin bits. It's had some splitty bits. I actually cut out a section at one point because it was just like, it wasn't disintegrating, but it was so loosely plied that the stitches looked like garbage. So if I were really fussed about it, I could contact them and complain. But honestly, it's been so long since I bought it, and I've already knit this entire sock. Like I'm gonna wear it, it's gonna be on my feet, so I don't care that much. but I didn't really enjoy the process. Whereas in the other ball of Christmas sock yarn, I didn't have that issue. So I don't know. This is what it looks like. I have worked on the second sock. I wound it off so they should match pretty identically. And this is how much we have. We are already a fair way down the foot. And if I hold them up together, you can see that basically I need 3 more stripes and then I can start the toe. And I'm holding it the wrong way because these needles are poking everything. So yes, this is where, whoa, what? I generally drop things on the floor in my podcast, but for some reason today I'm like extra butterfingers. Do you know what I bet it is? This arm is killing me. I don't have any grip strength in it right now because Noah was up at 2:30 and I held him in the rocking chair for the entire night, and his giant heavy head was pressed right here for hours, like 4 hours. He didn't move, and if I tried to move him, he fussed, and so my arm is killing me. That's probably why I'm dropping everything. Anyways, sorry about that. So yes, I'm happy with this. I can't wait to wear them. This stitch marker is where I was yesterday. I did this much yesterday while I was chasing my children at the jump park, and I did this much this morning, one entire stripe, while I was with Noah at the park after we dropped Noah off at school. So it is really helpful to have socks on the go in this tiny little bag for me because I can hook this on my arm and work on a sock. I think though, I want to start a hat of some kind to knit on as well, because that would be a little bit of a bigger project. So there's one more pair of socks, and these I'm really excited about. I have one entirely completed sock, and you're going to be impressed. I can feel that you're going to be impressed, okay? Because it is so much bigger than the sock I would normally make. So much bigger. This yarn was a gift from my friend Amanda. She sent it to me. It's called Mud Punch, Inspiring Color. That is the name. It is the colorway Cake It Easy, and it is 80% merino, 20% nylon. And as you can see, it is 385 yards for 110 grams. So that is much more of a sport weight yarn than a fingering weight yarn. And she wrote that in email, wrote that in the letter she sent to me, because I have been known to not pay attention at all to whether something is sport weight or fingering and just go right ahead and do what I want. So I've decided when I cast these on, I was like, oh, this yarn is so plump, so round, so squishy. I am going to enjoy every stitch of this. I can feel it. I felt it in the first 5 rounds of the cuff. So I decided to make boot socks with these. So longer, much longer than I normally make, and much cozier. Is this not magical? You guys, this is so good. So good. I typically, when I do a sock, I almost always make shorty socks, and I do a 15 round 2x2 rib cuff. I do currently 20 rounds before the heel. I'll do a fish lips kiss heel, work the foot, and do a rounded toe. If I make a long sock, I typically work 6 inches total from the top of the cuff until I start the heel. For this sock, I actually worked 20 rounds of 2x2 rib, and then I worked 7 inches. So this is a long cuff. It is as long as the foot. It is very tall for me, but I want these to go inside of boots, and so I think it will be perfectly cozy. I did cast on the same amount of stitches that I normally do on a 2.25 millimeter needle. I cast on 64 stitches and knit the entire cuff of the sock that way, the entire leg. They are a little loose, and that's fine because I think they'll shrink a little bit when I wash them and dry them. And I want them to be loose and cozy. I do not like constrictingly tight tops of socks on my legs. What I did though, because I knew that this was going to be a little too loose on the foot, is right before I got to the heel, I decreased to 60 stitches. So I simply did 1 round of decreases, and then I started the heel. The heel just worked out like this. Can you believe it? I didn't change the yarn. I did not do an afterthought heel. It just worked out to be that perfect. Is that not a miracle? Like, it's ever so slightly not perfect. Like this side is a little tiny bit bigger than this side, but like it looks like I planned it that way. I did not, y'all. I didn't. And then I knit the entire foot. I did 60 stitches for the foot. I did not increase. I just wanted to take out so that would be a little bit snug. And I did a rounded toe. Now, these are a little bit big. I knit it ever so slightly too long. So it's more of a size 9 than it is a size 8 in the foot. Again, I think that's fine because over time the socks tend to shrink just a little bit in the dryer. And I am going to be using these as boot socks. So I want something really cozy, plush, comfy in boots. So they are a little bit long, but I don't care. The only thing that I would actually change if I were to do this exact thing again with sport weight yarn is I made the heel, I think, 1 row too deep. I did my typical Fish Lips Kiss heel, but I started with 60 stitches. And so when you start with 64 stitches, you keep working the short rows until you have 10 stitches left in the middle. And I did that same thing here, but I think I probably could have left it off at 12 and skipped those last 2 rows because it is ever so slightly like a poof at the bottom of my heel. Again, I don't think I'm going to feel it in boots. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And I cannot get enough of this. Like every stitch of this I have loved. I do not regret making this the longest sock of all time in my life. It's magical. I love it so much. And I am delighted by this yarn. So this one is done. Very, very, very awesome. And I have in fact started the second one. And I'm about this far. So that's maybe 7 or 8 rounds of 2x2 ribbing into the sock. This one tends to live on my couch because it is in this blue bag. And I don't really want the blue bag to get all dirty and gross, getting dragged around to parks and things like that. Whereas this one doesn't really show dirt because it's a leopard print. But I might take this to small group tonight and knit on it. I finished this sock at small group last week and everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're knitting. And I was like, I'm always knitting if I can because it will help me pay attention. So yeah, 2 completely finished socks just in separate pairs and one just barely started and one almost halfway done. So I should theoretically, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, as my grandmother used to say, I should have a finished pair of socks the next time I talk to you. Now, that's not all the yarn because I have a little bit of incoming that I want to show you. I had the opportunity to spend a lovely morning with Natalie of Natalie's Closet. I will link her channel directly down below. She used to live in Pinellas County and I guess we've been internet friends for a really long time now. But we never were able to get together when she lived in Pinellas County, and she moved north, like to the Midwest, but it's like up at the top of the Midwest, like the middle north, and that's where she lives currently, but she was visiting her mom who lives here, and I got to spend a morning with her at the park because that's where Noah is all the time. He's an outdoor cat. Literally this morning, we were at the park for like an hour and a half. We came home because he needed a bath, and on the way in from the car, he was crying and he said, I need to be outside. I need to be outside. I'm like, boy, you reek. You need a bath. It was just very cute. So there would have been no talking at all that got done if they came over to our house because Noah would have been like destroying everything because he needs to be outside. So we met at a park in Gulfport and we stayed there for a couple hours and we took a walk. And then I got home in time for Noah to have a nap, and it was so delightful. And I can't really show you. She made like 2 loveys for them. So there was 2 stuffed animals, a shiny blue duck that you can barely see. It's right there. That's the butt of the duck. It has a lovey body, like in blanket yarn. And then she made one for Nova that was a like bunny Hello Kitty character in pink with a pink blanket around it. I can't show you that one either because Nova took it with her to school for her stuffy for nap time. So I don't have those to show you. But she also gave me something which was unnecessary and unexpected, but so delightful. And I'm going to show it to you. This is a yarn I've never seen before. It is called Loops and Threads Heathered Tweed. And look at it. Look at this. It looks like an oil slick. I love this yarn. It's magical. It is 60% polyester, 30% acrylic, and 4% wool. It is very soft and it is not scratchy at all. No prickles at all. Probably because it's only 4% wool. It says it's a number 3 yarn. If you look really close, you can see that it's a chain yarn. Like it's made out of chains. What is that called? Chain plied? But obviously done by a machine. Is that 1 strand or 2? I'm trying to break off I think that's 1 strand. Yeah, this is 1 strand. I would question whether that's a 3 or not, but I think it's gonna work up fluffier than that. It says, oh yeah, it says to use a 6.5 millimeter hook. It's a number 3, get out of here. So whatever I make with this is gonna be so light and so airy and so fluffy. I don't know what to make with it. If you have any pattern suggestions for 1 ball, let's see how many yards you get. Does it say? It must say somewhere 418. 418 yards for 150 grams. If you've used this yarn, what have you made? Because I have 1 ball and I want to make something with this immediately because I love it. I love it so much. I love the color. I love the heather look of it. I love the feel of it. I love the unique construction of the yarn. It's so cool. The other thing that was in there, let me pull it out without too much crinkling, is I have not even used this yet because I've been waiting to show you. There was a lovely little pouch from Maybe Crafted. Very adorable. And actually, I'm going to say it, Mr. Boyfriend. Natalie's boyfriend, he was also there. He was also lovely. Hello. He apparently picked this out, and I love it. I always love a notions pouch. I love it so much. I love to have a separate one in my sweater bags so that everything can be contained. There's a lovely little tape measure that's like clearly sewn on, like it's so special. There was some delightful Firefly Studio stickers and some stickers, some butterfly stickers. I have been hiding these because Nova's gonna lose her mind when she sees these. Natalie, I hope that you're okay with Nova having these because she's gonna have them. If she sees any hint of these, I think that she's gonna put them up around her room, but you never know. You never know what that girl's gonna do. She likes to decorate. The other thing that was in there was 2 skeins of Woolfolk yarn. I don't think that I have ever had a skein of Woolfolk yarn. I know of Woolfolk. I have touched Woolfolk. I have never owned Woolfolk. And these are 50-gram skeins. So you get 164 yards in each skein. There's 100 grams total. And it is 68% merino, 32% Pima cotton. Does it say what size yarn this is? I'm gonna guess it's like a sport weight, probably, because you get 164 yards for 50 grams. 160, 200, yeah, that's like 320, 330-ish yards. That's solidly in the sport weight category. This is also heathered and it's also a chain construction. Look at this. I really want to make a hat out of this. This is one of the softest yarns I have ever felt in my life. Like, I don't understand how it's so soft. Is it because the merino is extra special? Is it because the cotton content? Like, I've never touched yarn that felt like this before. It's so special. So I am debating, tell me your thoughts, please. I am debating on making a socket hat out of this, or even a musselburgh hat. But I also kind of want to make like a hair tie. So think like, you know the Sophie scarf that's like this teeny tiny little triangle scarf? I want to make something similar but much smaller, like just basically a strip with tapered ends that I could tie around my head and like pin in. Like, I don't know if you're getting what I'm saying, but I don't know that there's enough to make both. You know what I mean? Maybe I should make that little strip first, see how much yarn that takes, and then make a hat with the rest of it. I don't know. It's just, everything about this yarn is delightful. Oh, I need to decide what I'm doing with this because it needs to be on my needles. And this would be a perfect project to walk around and follow my kids at the park. So it's so special. It was so special to meet a yarn friend in real life. It's been so long since that has happened, since I've gotten to meet anyone from YouTube land. And I hope that it can happen more in the future. Fuzz. Hazards of being a crochet, knit, fiber-centric YouTube land person. Always fuzz up my nose. Also, something is blooming outside. And you may be like, why? It is October. Yes, but I live in Florida. And in Florida, there is like 1 month out of the year, probably January, where it's too cold for things to be putting allergens out in the world. So my allergies have been bothering me the last couple of days. So annoying. So annoying. Because I already take an allergy pill every day and a nose spray for my allergies every day and allergy shots, which have made a big difference. I can say that they made a big difference, but not enough for me to stop taking my allergy pills. Something's blooming, so I've been sneezing outside, and now there's fluff up my nose. Anyways, it was such a lovely way to spend the morning, especially because Noah had been so sick. It was just like, I'm sure that I was not my normal self because I was so drained and so tired. I hope it was a really lovely way to spend the morning. I hope you guys had a good time. Natalie and Mr. Boyfriend. Because I felt like my energy was lower than normal and I wasn't like able to like carry on the conversation like I normally would. And it just has been a really rough month. So speaking of rough months, I'm going to tell you all about Noah. If you want to stick around. The yarn content is over. Okay. Basically, Nova brought home a cold from school. Happens all the time. Kids at school are like a cesspool. She was sick for like 2 days. Over it, totally fine. Noah picked up that cold. He was sick for 4 or 5 days. Then he got a really bad cough, but he seemed to be getting a little bit better. But then after a couple days, he got worse and was like snot and green and you know the drill. And he really was not sleeping. Like at least every other night he was up crying, he was coughing, he was having a really hard time. We were doing all the things. And I didn't take him to the pediatrician right away because they don't do anything right away, right? Like they're literally like, it hasn't been long enough. He doesn't have an infection. It's a cold, write it out, make him comfortable, use the humidifier, use the Vicks Vapo Rub. Like we did all of that anyways. But after about 2 weeks, he was not better and he was progressively getting fussier. So I took him to the doctor and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. Please check him. It turned out that not only did he have a sinus infection, he had RSV and an ear infection in both ears. Poor guy. So that was at the end of 2 weeks. Then they put him on antibiotics. There's nothing really you can do for RSV. He didn't have like a severe case of it because he's not a baby, right? He's 2 years old. When you get that as like an infant, that can be really dangerous because you can start wheezing and doing all of that stuff. He was not wheezing. He was just really sick. So it kind of had to ride out the RSV because there's not really any treatment for that. But they gave him antibiotics for his ears and his sinus infection. He was on that for 5 days. And this part had cleared up a little bit, but he was so cranky. And he was doing things like he was hitting himself in the head, which is very abnormal behavior for him. He was crying at the drop of a hat over everything. And Wednesday morning, so we went to the pediatrician that Friday. We got him on antibiotics. He was on antibiotics for 5 days. That Wednesday morning, like the night before, I was like, if he is still fussy in the morning, I'm calling them because something's still wrong. He cried all morning on Wednesday, like pretty much on and off the entire time until we got Nova to school. They squeezed him in that day and they were like, okay, this part is better, but his right ear was better, but his left ear was worse. So he was having a really bad ear infection. So they changed his medication. We went back to the pharmacy. And mind you, getting any medicine in him is a fight. I cannot hold him down and shove it down his throat, no matter how. People always like to tell me that that's the answer, that you have to just hold them down and he will throw it up. Okay, he has done it before multiple times. If he does not want to take it, he will not take it. I cannot pry his mouth open. He will bite your fingers off. And even if you got it in his face, he will spit it all over you. He will throw it up. So you have to bribe him. So I was bribing him already at this point for 5 days, morning and night, because you have to take these twice a day, with Sonic videos on my phone, with chocolate almond milk, with special juice and lemonade, anything, ice cream, anything I could think of to get him to take this medicine. And it was a nightmare. The amount of doses he wasted and spit out. But I got the 2 doses in him every single day, and his ears were not getting better. They switched his medicine, and they're like, this will be easier because it's less dosage. He hated this medicine even more. So we struggled through 2.5 days of that medicine. Again, he wasted a bunch of doses. But I got it in him. They required him out twice a day. And I was just like, oh my gosh, we have to do this for 10 more days. On Friday, so they switched his medicine on Wednesday. Friday, he's still pretty cranky. And I was weighing, do I take him back? I don't know. It's really hard to get in on a Friday. But he woke up from his nap on Friday with 101 fever, which should not happen, right? When you are on antibiotics for a week at this point, you should not have 101 fever. Something is wrong. So I called them, and at this point it was 2 p.m. He had woken up from his nap sobbing hysterically, and they squeezed him in. I love his pediatrician's office. I have never called them and then be like, no, we can't see you. No, you have to wait. Go to urgent care. They've never done that. The receptionist was like, it is really crazy. It is a Friday. We are booked solid, but please stay on hold. I'm going to talk to one of the nurses. So she talked to the nurse, and she came back and she was like, yes, the fact that he has a fever is a problem. We do need to see you. Please come at 4:30 or 4:15, which is when we close. So just make sure you get here right before 4:15, and we will see him before we close for the day, which, thank you. Thank you. So they pricked his finger. They did a complete blood count, and his white blood cells were off the charts, more than double what they should have been. And they were like, okay, this is a big problem. He should not be having this after having all of that. So, and his left ear was he had a rager of an ear infection, and it was not getting better. And so what they did is they gave him antibiotic shots in his butt, which he did not appreciate. He was so devastated about. But we had to do something, right? And so they were closing for the weekend, and they're like, he's going to need multiple rounds of these because this is serious. If he is okay tomorrow, you can wait until Sunday, take him to urgent care or the children's hospital and get this shot, and then come see us on Monday. If he's not okay, you need to take him tomorrow. And at 3 a.m. that night, he woke up 101 fever again. We had to wait, I think, 24 hours to get the second shot. So we ended up at the urgent care Saturday at about 4 or 5 p.m. And they gave him a second round of shot because every time the Motrin would wear off, and I was alternating Motrin and Tylenol, and the Tylenol would do nothing to prevent the fever. The Motrin would bring it down to about 99.5, but you can only give it every 6 hours. And about hour 5, his fever would spike immediately. And so they had to give him the second round of shots at the urgent care that Saturday. And at the pediatrician's office, they split the dose and they shot him in both butt cheeks, which he was offended by. At the urgent care, I asked them to please do that. And they said, no, we can do it in his leg. And I was like, okay, well, at the pediatrician's office, they had lidocaine in the shot. And they were like, oh, yeah, I guess we can add that. They were going to shoot this, it was a lot. It was a lot in his leg. And next time, if there is a next time, hopefully there won't be, but if there is ever a next time, I'm going to pitch a fit and make them split the dose because his leg was so sore. He barely wanted to walk on it for the rest of the day. And the next day, which was Sunday, he would walk around holding his leg all day, being like, boo, 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 hurt you, which was heartbreaking. Which is why the pediatrician split the dose, right? To put it in both butt cheeks. Anyways, so Sunday he was finally doing a little bit better. So the medicine was starting to work. So we, again, like just around the clock medicine, made him comfortable. And Monday morning, first thing, we went and got his third round. And that third round is what finally like kicked it. And then he spent a couple days just like recovering. Like he was so exhausted and so worn down. Finally, I think when I posted the whip school video, week 8, which was really week 10 at that point, when I posted that video was the first good day he had had in 3 weeks. And he was still exhausted. So it was rough. He is completely better now. Something happened, and I don't know if it was a side effect from the medicine, if it was something that he ate that he shouldn't have because his stomach is so sensitive to things, or it was some kind of bug. I have no idea. But Monday he got the shot. Tuesday he was pretty good but tired. Wednesday he was great. Thursday he had like explosive diarrhea. And you know that thing that kids do when they cry hysterically and then they get really snotty and then they suck the snot down their throat and then they barf it back up? He did that. And I had to literally hose him down. Like he was in the swing, strapped in. It was everywhere. I had to put him in the bathtub screaming, like, poor guy. But he recovered very quickly. So I don't know if it was a side effect or something, or just he just ate something. I have no idea. And so he was really cranky and exhausted on Thursday from that. Friday he was really tired. And then this week, we've had about 5 days of him being back to his happy, normal self, which your girl is tired. Okay. I got really concerned that Nova was getting sick because 2 days after he got his shot, she said she had a really bad headache and her ear was hurting. And I was like, no. So I gave her some Motrin. I took her temperature. She didn't have a fever. Thankfully, when she woke up the next morning, she was fine. So maybe she just really had a headache that was like kind of on the side of her head. Who knows? But I was like, please no. Please no. So that is what has been going on. I know in the grand scheme of things, like there's a lot of worse things that your kids or like the world is going through at the moment. But that was really intense because he's just never been that sick. And I don't know, Nova has never gotten antibiotic shots. Like that's crazy. He's never gotten an ear infection before, let alone one that would not respond to 2 different medicines. So yeah, that was wild. I am glad that's over. I don't feel, and then when Sunday, Monday, and yesterday, I was not feeling well. And I don't know what the sickness was. It was like my throat hurt really bad and I was just so wiped out. Today, I actually feel fine. So I guess I got over it. There was no congestion. There was no headache. There was no coughing. It was just like right here in my throat every time I swallowed, it felt like a knife. And I was zero energy. So I guess I got run down and picked up something, but I guess I fought it off. Hopefully it doesn't come back. And I'm so grateful that I wasn't feeling like that while he was also sick, because it's so hard when your kids are sick, let alone for 3 straight weeks, let alone not sleeping. Like I would say the majority of those nights he did not sleep. Last night he was up at 2:30 wailing and I had to hold him. And I was so tired, honestly, that I just put the recliner back and slept with him on top of me. I probably could have put him back in the crib, but I was too tired to wait for him to fall asleep. And I think he needed some love. And this morning he had a really bad stomach ache, but also my husband has had a stomach ache. So again, I don't know, like, is there something going around? There's no throw up. I don't know. It's so hard to tell. Is it something we ate? We all ate the same thing yesterday and Nova and I are fine. So I don't know. I really just don't know. But that's what's been going on. That is why I've been very quiet. I could not manage to make a podcast last week because I was so behind on work. And I literally wrote my sermon for Sunday, Friday night, and I was falling asleep at the table, like literally just sitting there with my arm like, oh, okay. Like my eyes were closing and I was trying to finish it and I couldn't do it. I had to go to bed and finish it on Saturday morning. So hopefully sickness is behind us for a little while, crossing everything. I am making, that's my sourdough starter right there. I'm going to make some sourdough and bake it in the morning. That will be really delightful. I think I have some discard left that maybe I can make some pizza dough with tonight and just give everyone a comfort meal. It's not, I mean, the crust will be amazing. It's not like pizza because it doesn't, Nova's will have real cheese on it, but Noah can't have any cheese and neither can I. So you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. I don't know. Nova's still exhausted all the time about everything. So we're still trying to figure that out medically. And I think I've definitely talked more about that in the members section because I like an ear infection. I feel like everybody gets, like this is just normal baby stuff to get. Oh, maybe not to this extreme, but normal baby stuff to get sicknesses and things. But she's got some stuff maybe going on that I don't necessarily want to put out into the world for everybody to know. So yeah, that's what's been happening. This is the reason that I have only been able to knit in a circle and work on Nova's Ripple Blanket. I hope that I can get more stuff done coming up. I hope it's not starting out well because I'm exhausted because Noah was up all night, but maybe tonight he'll sleep. Maybe. I don't know. It is Halloween. It's Halloween season. We've got our decorations up and the kids are just delighted by that. We have our costumes. Nova's going to be Elsa, of course. And I'm going to be Wilma. My husband's going to be Fred. And Noah is going to be Bam Bam from the Flintstones. So I think that will be really cute. I don't know what kind of events we'll go to. Probably some trunk or treats or something. And then actually on Halloween, which I think is on a Friday, we'll go trick-or-treating for a little while, which will be fun. I think they're both old enough to maybe stay up. Last Halloween and the Halloween before, we were back home by 6:30 because he was a baby. She couldn't handle it, right? But I think they can probably stay up till 7:30 or 8 this time. Really, he can stay up later than Nova can. That girl needs her sleep, especially because she's so tired lately. So that's the plan. I'm worn out. You can probably see it. I think I look worn out. I don't have any yarn on. I don't have any makeup on. I never wear any makeup, but I feel like I don't normally look this ridiculous. Thankfully, because my iron is so much better than it was, I have been able to handle this better than I think I would have 3 months ago. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there because I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, but I'm just so happy. I'm so happy to be here recording a podcast. I'm so happy to see you. I know I'm way behind on comments, responding to them, but I promise you I've read every single one, and especially the messages. I got a couple messages on Instagram and via email of people just wondering if everything was okay because I had been so quiet, and I really appreciate that so much. It just filled my heart and it made it a little easier to keep going on those sleepless nights. So thank you for caring. Thank you for caring about my family, and I care about you too. And please leave me a comment. Let me know what you're working on, what you're up to. Have you also been infected by the plague? And I will see you very soon. Bye, friends.